Hi, I'm Bowling Otter.
And I'm Lucy Sandwich.
And welcome to
the BS on the Internet.
Well, it's been another one of those weeks.
It has.
It has.
And I'm freezing.
And yeah, it's got cold all of a sudden.
It did.
Cold.
We were in a heat wave all week. I don't know how you guys did.
Like low to mid 90s all week.
Yeah.
And very, very humid.
Right.
Yeah.
Where it was feeling like it was in the low hundreds.
Yes.
And there were schools closing around here. They weren't allowed to have recess outside.
Yes.
Like it was really, really, really terrible. So because that, crotch burps already, girl. But because of that, I haven't gone out very much this week. Neither one of us have because it's just so darn hot. And all we could do is just look around at all the crazy ass news that's happening on the internet. And it was a loaded week. And also we wanted to ask you guys if you would prefer that we put timestamps in the description or the comments, because I know some of you, sometimes these get a little long and you want to click around. So please let us know if you would prefer a timestamp. Actually, if you would like one, give a thumbs up so this way we know what's going on.
Yes.
Okay, first up is we just saw on the news in the last probably about 3 or 4 hours that Mac Miller has died. Dude, he OD'd. Yeah. And we just saw it a little while ago and we were like, oh my gosh, another one. This is just like insane.
Yeah. It's, what was it? I forget what it was. What was the drug?
They're saying they're not sure yet. It hasn't been that long. But what I feel so bad about is, one, like he was so talented. He's from Pittsburgh. He's been doing this a long time. People have been following him for a very long time. And he's good. He's really good, but he had a disease and everybody, as of right now, and we're only a couple hours into this, hopefully it's a little bit different by the time this goes up, I'm seeing everybody just bother poor Ariana Grande.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I know, like she hasn't been through enough in her life.
If you guys don't know, they dated for a long time apparently, and they broke up because she was public about it and basically said, like, I tried to help him through his addiction, and she became a babysitter / mother. Yeah. And it's one of the situations where you don't have to do that, and you shouldn't have to do that.
No.
So she decided, she's like, I got to look out for myself at some point here, so I'm going to go. And then he OD'd eventually, and now people are pointing fingers at her, saying it was her fault.
I know.
Which is crazy.
Why?
I mean,
that kind of thing makes me like livid.
Yeah, come on.
That you would point the finger at her.
Like his drug addiction was her fault. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless there's some huge part of the story that I know, like she went up to him and be like, here, take this. And then next day, like, take more of it, please. And do you feel sick yet? Take more. I know. Like, unless she did that, then if she did that, then you could be like, maybe you have an argument here. But if all she did was be in a relationship with him and then break up with him, then she can't be blamed for this.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know. And it's hard to watch this happen to somebody, and it's getting so many people. We're in an epidemic with fentanyl and just opiates and everything. It's so crazy. If you know anybody that dabbles in this kind of thing,
I think all of us probably know somebody who's overdosed.
Oh yeah,
I definitely do.
Oh, of course.
I know more than one person who's overdosed. I know one person who's died from the overdose.
Right.
So it's just freaking crazy. I mean,
the guilt of the people around the individual is crazy.
Because everyone feels like I could have done something. Right. Everybody feels it's not that different than in that way, like almost like suicide stories. It's almost like a lot of people that are kind of like, maybe I should have seen something, I should have done something, I should have reached out. I know it's a different situation, but it almost feels like in ways that it affects everybody around them and the thought patterns. It's not that different if you're close to them.
But you also can't help anybody who doesn't want to help themselves.
Yeah.
You could do everything. Like if love solved it, this wouldn't be a problem for some people. You know what I mean? Like he had a family that loved him. There was no doubt that he was loved, and love or money can't solve it, but like you could support and you could talk and you could be present, and there's things that could be done, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's their choice what they want to do with their lives. And that's a hard thing to come to terms with. You know, especially like if you're a parent who's lost a child, oh my God, like I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel so sad.
Okay, here's unfortunately another tragedy that we're going to be moving on to, and that there was a fire in a Brazilian museum.
Yes.
I never even thought about this before this happened, right?
Yeah.
That this is even a thing that could happen.
Right.
Because you think about museums we have that like have centuries of artifacts and literature and art and like just amazing pieces of history, actual pieces of history, not just stories about them. Mm-hmm. And what happened here was that kind of situation. It took 200 years to put together, and just millions of priceless specimens, like it says right there, and they're all gone. It's gone.
Just
like
burned in
there's no
fire.
copies of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's gone. I mean, we have the record of their existence now, but that's all we got anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
It would be like in the States if the Smithsonian or one of the Smithsonian's burned.
Yeah, if you're in the States, you know, you probably have an idea of how big of a deal that would be if the Smithsonian burned down.
That has to be so devastating for the people of Brazil. I can't even imagine. This was an announced tragedy, yeah. But it's making me wonder, like, what like precautions could they have put in place there?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these museums are put together in kind of a weird way. A lot of these things like are flammable, but then do you put in sprinklers and potentially destroy everything that's in there? Like so many things are like temperature controlled and pressure controlled, and they're so high tech, some of these museums, and just that they lost so much.
It's funny.
It's horrible.
In fact, you mentioning that, I'll bet it would make a really interesting like interview or even like series to learn about how just disaster control is planned out and engineered in a museum.
Yeah,
I'll bet there's so much to it. And you think about it, it makes a lot of sense why there's like these like elaborate, ornate marble staircases and stuff. You can't burn that.
Right.
Fire, it's not going to catch fire.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's in the structure of the building.
I'll bet a lot of it's in the structure of the building because any fire would have to be relatively contained and small. It wouldn't be able to easily spread.
Right.
You know, even in the absence of sprinklers, because the building wouldn't be conducive to burning.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I mean,
like, oh my God. Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking like the art.
Oh God.
Artifacts.
Yeah.
They said there's a meteorite in there. Just absolutely insane. And then on top of that, they also have, and you don't even think about this, the storage of artifacts and things that aren't even on display. So like what you see in the cases is not all there is. They have huge like basements and storage lockers and things filled with like artifacts and specimens and artwork and all of this, and all of it just went up.
Look at this right here. The museum's archaeological collection had frescoes from Pompeii.
Oh my God.
Hundreds of Egyptian artifacts, including a 2,700-year-old painted sarcophagus.
Oh my gosh.
1800 South American artifacts dated back to pre-colonial times, including urns, statues, weapons, and a Chilean mummy that was at least 3,500 years old. They're gone. Wow. But then another interesting thing down here is one might think that fossils being rock would be immune to fire, but fires can reach temperatures that are high enough to crack stone.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So that's how it destroys buildings, and then walls and ceilings fall on fragile specimens. So that's kind of an answer how like something like this that isn't made of wood, a building not made of wood like this, can still burn.
Maybe we could learn from this.
Yeah.
And say like this specimen burned at, you know, what we believe is this temperature. Maybe we could, you know, and actually get some better safety measures in place so something like this doesn't happen. But just seeing history destroyed like that, especially really, really old history, ancient history, just, oh my gosh, it's like, you know, twist the knife.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
it was horrible.
yeah.
Horrible. Oh, this! Do you want to know what has kept me on edge all week?
Oh, this.
This story.
This is a terrible story.
Oh, what a horrible thing.
Yeah, what is this?
No, I won't
We have some good stuff afterwards, I promise.
I promise.
We actually do.
I won't stay on this long, but for those of you who didn't know, this gentleman here was on the Cosby Show in the 80s. And he went to Yale. He's an acting teacher, I think.
At Yale, I think.
Yeah, at Yale, yeah. And
did teach
was
there.
doing all different, you know, kinds of getting jobs when he could. He was working in North Jersey. A lot of people do that. For those of you who don't know the area, there's New York City, obviously. And then a lot of people choose to live in North Jersey around like a town called Montclair, Clifton.
It's very
like,
close to New York City.
Yeah, it's like Stephen Colbert lives there. I think Springsteen's up there. There's like this pocket of people who don't necessarily want the city life. It's a really pretty suburb. It's very hilly. So he's living around this area, working at Trader Joe's, he's a working actor. You know, the job is unstable, so he needed to fill in.
Sometimes you got work, sometimes you don't have work.
Yeah, you need steady work. You need money coming in. And a woman snapped this shot of him and sold this picture, contacted several celebrity outlets and said, hey, look, this guy from the Cosby Show is working at Trader Joe's. How far the stars have fallen. That kind of thing. And blows up on social media so hard that he has to leave his job. And he was on Good Morning America, and it was so terrible that people were shaming this man for working an
regular job.
An honorable
good
job.
old regular job
at
like
Trader Joe's,
like
which is amazing. I love Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
You know, he said he needed a flexible a job with flexible hours that he could fit in because he was an actor and he was going, around. But all she saw was just some guy, she was saying, in a stained shirt, bagging groceries, and decided to sell this picture. But listen to this. Now she feels bad that she took the picture and sold it because he did have to leave his job, and her name is Karma.
Her name's Karma.
Her name's Karma. So now she's saying that she's getting harassed. She's getting, hate on social media. She's 50 years old. I was surprised at the age of the woman. I thought it was going to be somebody younger, but but now that I think about it, it kind of makes sense.
It does.
Not to say anything bad about anybody who's 50, but you didn't come of age in the social media era, but she saw that she could make a quick buck. And but he has since been offered a job acting with Tyler Perry in one of his shows on Oprah's network. Mm-hmm. So he's going to work with him. So that's good. Mm-hmm. I'm glad for that. But oh gosh, this whole thing, they say Karma's a bitch.
Yeah.
They're sending her messages. I don't mean to laugh. I really, really don't. But his name is Jeffrey Owens. And what I love about this is that several actors, a lot of actors, have come forward and said, like, there is nothing to be ashamed of that this guy is doing. He should not be ashamed at all. So many people are saying, oh, I worked a job, at a tax collector's. I was a mailman. I did this. I waited tables, blah, 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 blah. It has nothing to do with your talent. It has nothing to do with how hard you hustle. It's just, he needs a steady job. But I find it so sad that this guy, went to Yale, is an acting instructor at Yale, and was on the Cosby Show and did all these different projects. He was on some shows on HBO, they were saying, and he still has to work at Trader Joe's. Yeah, but I guess that's part of the thing.
Yeah, acting by and large is labor of love.
Yeah.
Most people are not making good livings doing it.
Right.
It's really, it's one of those precious few. It's kind of like musicians. It's the same kind of thing, Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of people, musicians, we're musicians, and they all have other jobs. I mean, this is nothing crazy. It's not a crazy story. It's not even an unusual story. And it doesn't, just because he was on the Cosby Show before, but it was interesting to me. One thing that was very interesting is we were looking a little bit more about this woman, Karma, that still hilarious to say that out loud, that took this picture and posted it and actually sent it to several celebrity websites.
Yeah, she shopped it.
Because she, and she was talking about how now she feels a lot of regret about it. I'm sure it's one of those things where somebody said, like, do you realize what you did? Yeah. And then she's like, oh. Like one of those things, like, because she was talking about how she just kind of got like seduced by the whole culture of the Hollywood websites, the celebrity stuff, like the gossip sites like TMZ. Yeah, these things have been around for a long time. Yeah. Well before social media, the TV shows existed, the Enquirer and all the tabloids existed. This is a very old, gossip is a very old thing, right?
Gossip media is old,
Yeah, gossip media is old. It comes from just people's innate desire to gossip about stuff. Sure. And she got caught up in that and just basically said that she thought that's just what people did. That you went and took a picture. This is why, there's a lot of things I really dislike about social media a lot of the time because it perpetuates this kind of mentality in a lot of ways. Like, people pass this stuff around like crazy, right? And it breeds people like this. Mm-hmm. That then they see somebody be like, "Oh, what I'm supposed to do now is look at that picture. Go up to the top of the top of that article again." Something convinced her to walk up to the dude, put her phone up, and go click. Yeah. Somebody did that to me. Are you serious? Like, somebody just walked up and she went like,
you would make that face.
I would make that face. Like, what is wrong with you? Why don't you just come take my picture and leave? Yeah. Like, that's creepy and weird and like, I don't know, like, just say hi. Just like, if you recognize me or something like that, just say hi. Yeah. Say like, hey, weren't you on? Like, yeah, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. All right. You're working at Trader Joe's? Like, yeah, I'm making ends meet. done deal.
Cool,
you
bye.
know? Yeah, I mean, like,
that's it. You don't go and shop it around.
It's just really terrible behavior.
My gosh. Job shaming.
Shaming, yeah. Just.
She said it wasn't malicious.
Like paparazzi in general.
She did a. Okay, yeah. She said, I don't know why I snuck a picture. I figured everybody does it. I don't know what possessed me. I just did it. I didn't even think about it. I just kind of did it on impulse, and it was a bad impulse. Yeah, see? Like, I don't... and she said she was a fan. But you know what? I don't think...
Yeah, if she was a fan, she should have said hi. You know what I mean?
And here he is. Yeah, he's got his Yale hat on.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was in HBO's Divorce, CBS's Elementary, Showtime.
This is recent stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he's working. He's doing his thing, you know?
And I don't know...
I mean, we don't know his situation. What if maybe he's got some debt to pay off?
Yeah.
You know, like the rest of the freaking world.
Right.
I mean, it could be anything. Or maybe he just like feels comfortable working. He could even have liked that job. I've heard people freaking like working at Trader Joe's. It's a cool place to work.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it might not even be.
They are so freaking nice at Trader Joe's.
It could be anything.
They are some happy people at Trader Joe's.
And just who the hell, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't even matter if he was working freaking McDonald's or if he's a trash man.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he was doing. It's a job. Everybody else is working.
Right.
And they're doing just fine.
Right.
And like,
do what you gotta
he's
do.
just one of those people, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't know. The whole thing is just so crappy.
Just
it's
how
so
this
crappy.
whole thing unfolded, and I don't.
He had to leave his job.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
All right, next, here's some, I think, good news, personally. I don't know how you guys would take this. I'd be interested in your thoughts about this. But anyway, Henry Cavill,
Superman!
Man of Steel, Superman, is going to play The Witcher.
I like it.
Going to play Geralt in the Witcher series on Netflix. I remember at first I was like, really? Like, because I'm thinking, like, you know, Superman's super clean cut. He's not scarred up.
Right.
You know, he's definitely not weathered. He's like, you know, I'm Superman.
Yeah.
But he is very stoic, right? And Geralt's like stoic. Yeah. But Geralt is definitely weathered. He's been through some stuff, and they show it on his face.
Right.
And like, can he play that kind of character? But immediately, the more I thought about it, the more I started coming around to it, because I do like him a lot in Man of Steel. I can't wait for them to do the next one.
Yeah.
I think he's a very good Superman.
Yeah.
And apparently, and I think this goes a long way for me personally, I don't know, but he's a big gamer.
Yeah.
Like big RPG gamer. Like Skyrim, Fallout, and apparently he's played The Witcher 3 multiple times.
Right.
And he was actually
that needed to happen.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise the gamers, I think, would have eaten him alive.
Maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know, but there's a lot of people. He fits into the comic book culture, though.
Yeah.
He's playing Superman.
Oh, he does.
Which is a lot of crossover there.
There is.
So,
yeah.
I feel like
if you didn't know anything about the game or, you know, that kind of gaming in general, then people would be like, well, you don't even play it?
Well, it would just be more of the same.
Yeah.
That's all. I feel the fact that he is a gamer actually makes it special and different this time around, which is cool because him being a huge fan. He's read the books. I saw a snippet of his interview he did with IGN a while ago, well before this announcement. He was talking about having played. He was on his second playthrough The Witcher.
Yeah.
He was asking the interviewer if he'd read the books because the books were so good.
Yeah.
And the interviewer asked him, "Who knows if there's anything going on under here or not?" But the interviewer asked him, said, "What about like Geralt? Is that a character you'd ever like to play?" And he was like, "Oh, that'd be amazing. I would love to play that character."
Right.
So just the fact that he seemed to be very genuinely saying that sort of thing makes me excited.
Yeah.
Because you know that he's going to know everything around this character enough that, you know, him being an actor, and apparently a very talented actor,
right,
to be able to kind of use that to create the character in which you would think that somebody familiar with the lore would actually like appreciate and understand.
Right.
But then somebody also, a very talented Photoshop artist, mocked up a picture.
Not me.
Not this very talented Photoshop artist.
Oh my God.
Mocked up a picture of Henry Cavill and crossed it with a picture of Geralt, a promo picture of Geralt.
Yeah, look at this, guys.
The Witcher, and that's kind of an idea of maybe that's what he looks like. And I see that, and I'm like, I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
You know, I think...
The more I think about it, the more excited I get about it.
What I hope doesn't happen, for me at least, is that when there's somebody who plays like the same character a number of times, they are just that person for me. Like I see him and I go, oh, that's Superman, and I know he was in Mission Impossible and all that.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. But my brain
Superman a couple
is
times.
just Superman. Right. So I hope that I could, you know, not do that. I worry this is going to happen with the Game of Thrones cast.
Yeah.
That if I see them in something else, I'm going to be like, oh, it's, you know, so-and-so.
Well, that's
Sansa
harder
Stark,
because when you're talking about like 20, 30, 40,
that's
50
multiple
episodes.
years. Yeah,
right,
for
instead
sure.
of like 3 movies of Superman, right?
So that's not, I mean, he hasn't been playing as long, but there's still that thing in my mind.
You still have that connection, for sure.
I have that connection, yeah.
I'm confident.
I think it's cool.
I personally feel pretty confident about that part of it because he's done so well in all the roles already, apart from being Superman. So it's like, oh, he can be somebody who's not Superman.
Right,
and it's still really good.
Yeah.
I would almost say if he's him doing a short series on The Witcher, I think, but it would be a full series for like I think what. I don't know don't quote me on this. I think I read like 6 to 8 episodes or something like that.
Okay.
So if he does that many episodes as Geralt, that would actually be the most common role he would have played up at that point.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, you would have been Geralt more than anybody else.
You're just talking about like quantity and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Although, you know what? That is going to be expensive.
Oh, I hope.
To make the
I hate to say, I hate to say, but I hope it's expensive because I hope they have a crazy budget for this.
Yeah.
You know, I want this to be good so bad.
Yeah.
It has the potential to be awesome.
I
This
feel
is
like,
what I hope they would do with Dune one of these days.
Yeah.
You know?
Although I feel like if it's anything less than amazing, people are going to be like really, really pissed about it.
Well, yeah, I think they have. It is definitely going into a world of some very passionate fans. Might not be an incredible amount of them, but but there's some very passionate fans that do not want to see the material, you know, presented in the wrong way. This is scary waters to wade into.
It is.
But I think I'm hoping for somebody. I haven't read the books, but I'm a fan of the games, and I'm hoping just as somebody who's a fan of the games that I will be able to get something out of it. And the fact that they would have picked somebody like him to play the lead feels good to me because they went out there and got a top flight guy.
Right.
It seems like they got what I would have assumed would be like their number 1 pick. Like, is Henry Cavill going to be like their 2nd tier pick?
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
he's probably the one guy they wanted to nail. So that means they're aiming really high, and I'm hoping that speaks to the mentality for the whole series, basically.
Yeah. Okay, some really big news this week that has been really interesting to watch is that Nike did a campaign with Colin Kaepernick for the 30th anniversary of their Just Do It campaign. And it was like a really ballsy move, speaking of ballsy things, to put him up there. There was a number of other people in the campaign. I know Serena Williams was one. But of course, because Kaepernick is such a polarizing figure, if you don't know who he is, you could Google him. It's a big thing. He will kneel at the NFL games to protest police brutality. And there's a lot of people who don't like that. So
he's the reason that there's many people in the rest of the league doing it. He started the whole thing. If you've been hearing a lot about that, it began with him. Right.
And there's a lot of reasoning why he's kneeling and all of that, like the reason why he chose kneeling and not sitting. And it's been a really interesting thing to follow, but there's a lot of vitriol following him about it. A lot of people believe that he's protesting the flag, the anthem itself. So because of that, a lot of people are now burning their Nikes. You're seeing pictures of people cutting out the little Nike swoosh from their socks and burning it or whatever. But we just saw today, I was wondering if this is going to affect their sales. I'm like, what's going to happen? But we just saw today that they have seen a 31% boost in their online sales, which I find really, really interesting.
This is like, well, I find this whole thing very interesting because I can't remember. I mean, like, to do this, for Nike to be like, hey, we're going to put a big picture of Colin Kaepernick's face by our swoosh and it's going to say, just do it. Like, that is a very political move, right?
It is, yeah.
Any way you slice it. And for a huge corporation like Nike to do that, knowing how divisive it is super ballsy. It's interesting. You don't see this very often. And they had to know. I mean, of course they knew the kind of blowback they were going to get for it.
And this was in the works, we were just saying this earlier, it's been in the works for a while, about a year. They knew he was going to do this, and they've just been sitting on it.
Yeah.
And now
but the thing is where is this? I'm not that surprised that it's seen a sales growth because of it.
Yeah.
Because this isn't like when you often hear of like boycotts and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of times it's a little bit more of like if something happens that causes a corporation to meaningfully lose instant like sales and instant stock, is usually something that a lot of people will consider to be very poor taste. Like you find out that somebody did something like terrible or maybe got drunk and, you know, got in an accident, somebody died, or like you find out somebody was like a child molester or something like that, and then it's just like, whoa, I'm gonna boycott that stuff. This is more talking about a subject that has a lot of conversation on both sides of it,
right?
So that there's certainly a very large amount of people that would agree with the sentiment that would want to encourage the sentiment and then just start buying products.
Right.
As like almost at least as many, I would think, to offset the amount of people who would feel about boycotting it, because this is just so divisive.
Right.
There's so many people on both ends of it. I mean, we're seeing now that, I don't know, I guess a 31% sales growth is 31% sales growth. They're selling more products now because they've done it. So good on them. It was a gamble and they won.
Yeah.
But it's just super interesting in the, like, how the whole spirit of what is happening.
Yeah. Well,
right
that
now
tells me that people are getting his message or what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Because some people, like those of you who are not from the United States, and I'm not going to get political, I'm not going to talk, like, get on a side or whatever, but in the United States, the flag and the anthem represent different things to different groups of people. Like for some people, it represents a culture, an idea, a hope, right? For other people, it's the military. It's like that tribalism, military. You stand for that no matter what. That is the military. That is
some
God
people
and
just
country.
Straight up just military.
Yeah, they just say it's disrespecting the military.
If you say anything about it, you're disrespecting the troops. You hear that a lot, right?
Right. But some people are like, you think about the people who died for the flag. The flag being the idea.
Yes, the
flag
what I mean? Being a symbol. It's symbolic, of course.
Exactly.
It's a big old metaphor, you know?
Yes, sure. So, but not everybody believes it's a metaphor. Some people believe that it means the military. It means, the country as a unit. It means the president, right? That some people believe that, But I saw it explained in a way that I really liked, who weren't, like, people weren't really understanding why he was kneeling, but they were saying, like, Rosa Parks wasn't protesting the bus, right? When she, when she sat where she sat, like that kind of thing. So there's a lot of people who are really mad about this issue. So to see it reflected in actual sales like that is really interesting. But, a lot of people will still make the argument about Nike still using child labor, which is, we were talking about.
Oh yeah, they're not an innocent company.
Yeah,
you might agree with them, like you might be on their side, I guess you would say, about them using Kaepernick's face for it or supporting him, but they're still doing some pretty crappy stuff, pretty objectively crappy things.
Of their shoes.
That is a little less divisive and a little more agreement on how bad it is.
Right. Yeah, and I believe we haven't bought Nike.
Not a lot of people like child labor. Not going to be a lot of people.
I believe we haven't bought anything.
It's.
We have a handful of companies.
I know boycotts don't work.
Yeah.
It just kind of makes me feel a little bit.
Makes you feel
sometimes
a little
feel
bit
like I just sound like, and I know it's going to be one of those things like, well, I bet those pants you're wearing were made by children. It's like, well, I don't know that.
Yeah, I know.
If once I know that, I'm probably not going to buy it. You know what I'm saying,
but,
guys.
But the sad truth is that, it's like one of these sad realities.
Yes.
For sure, that it's just kind of like, we could do what we can do. We could, we could vote. We could, watch where we spend our money. But at the end of the day, people are starting to care about this. And I know Levi's just kind of followed suit and said, hey, we're going to throw our hat in the ring as well. And we're going to say that either they support Kaepernick or support a certain cause or whatever. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do yet. But I know they said that they think Nike made the right move.
And as far as Lissy mentioned that Levi's was going to take a stance as well, it didn't have directly to do with Kaepernick, but they're also getting involved in a political stance.
Right.
While the CEO for Levi Strauss wrote an article for why business leaders need to take a stand on gun violence.
Right.
So it seems like it seems like they're taking up their own issue, but these corporations are now deciding to get involved, which is interesting because they speak for a lot of people. These are large brands that have been around for a long time, so this is pretty significant.
Right.
That suddenly they're getting involved in social issues like this and taking what are inherently political stances. But it's going to be interesting to see the long-term effect, I think, of this kind of activity and to see if it continues to ripple or if it backfires on one of them and then everybody backs off. So it's going to be interesting to see in the next few years.
Right. What do you guys think about this? Do you think companies should get involved in these political issues and these divisive issues? Would you, use your wallet to support a certain company or not support a certain company? Let us know. Also, quickly, we wanted to touch on the passing, 2 deaths in one show. Oh my gosh. Of Claire Wineland, a YouTuber who had cystic fibrosis who just passed this week. She had a double lung transplant. and she had a stroke after the surgery, and and passed. So it's so sad, especially
She's
because
like 21 years old.
I know.
Crazy.
And I'm all for people facilitating a discussion about illness, because a lot of times people will see somebody, like I see she has the oxygen on, and like I bet she got stared at, or people would say, what is that, or children, or whatever. Like, you shouldn't be afraid to talk to somebody who has an illness or ask them questions about it. I think it's important for kids. I really, really do. So I'm very, very grateful to her, as many of us are, for actually starting a discussion about this kind of thing. And so sad.
It is. It's though I did like a lot. We were reading in this article. Can you scroll down to she was an organ donor.
Yes.
And it's really interesting to see an immediate like you could see what that means to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Right? Where was it?
I think it was down here. Here we go.
There it is. Yeah. Okay. She was able to save the life of 2 people. Her right kidney was transplanted to a 44-year-old woman in San Diego. Her left kidney was transplanted to a 55-year-old male in Northern California. Yeah. And her corneas and tissue were recovered, and she'll be able to enhance the life of up to 50 people. Like, that is... I mean, what better gift can you give if you're like, if you pass away, you can like save the lives of many more people, save lives of other people, or at least enhance the lives of many more people.
Take 'em.
Just, exponentially more.
I know, yeah. If it's something that you feel you'd like to do, make sure you mark it down on your driver's license. It's not for everybody, or there's some people, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. There's some people for religious reasons, they won't donate or whatever. But, if you're kind of on the fence or whatever, please consider doing it, because you could save so many people. And waiting on these lists is excruciating for the people who are on them. So, it's a nice thing to come out of a tragedy.
Yes.
It could be a consolation to your family and loved ones to know that you helped, and that, you're living on in somebody else. Okay, it's time for the subreddit of the week. And this week is, can I say this?
A-hole design.
All right. I'm just saying.
Will we be comfortable with Baby Otter saying
it? That's true. I want to keep it
That's what we're trying to go by.
Now, this is funny. This is interesting. We've all been here where you get on some kind of like web page or some kind of product or something, and it's just like, what? Like a dick move. Can I say dick move? Now I'm scared. But like, for example, was looking desperately for the unsubscribe button. No wonder I couldn't find it. Look at that.
Look at that crap. It's white text against a white background.
Do you believe that?
That is so messed up.
But you could think of...
That epitomizes it.
Knowing that this existed, I could think of so many things that this has happened with. For example, like this, packaging that tricks you. Look at that. Or when that happens, when you have like a sandwich inside like a big box, and it'll have like a little window to make it look like the sandwich is really big, and then it'll be cut. Or you'll get a sandwich that looks like it's filled with like lettuce and cheese, and then it's only like in the opening of the sandwich to look like it's full when you buy it, and then you open it up and it's empty.
Can we just hold on a moment though?
No, I know you had something to say. What?
I don't think I would ever...
You don't want Brussels
ever see Brussels and caramelized shallots pate and be like, I'm buying that.
But it's
and then be bummed out that there's less of it in there than it told me. I think I might be like, at least I don't have to eat that much of it.
But look at that. It kind of looks, it's got air in it. It's airy. Rich and creamy, made in Belgium.
Rich and creamy Brussels.
You might
caramelized
like it.
Shallots.
Yeah, from Brussels.
From Brussels. Brussels and caramelized shallots.
Belgian pate made with freshly chopped caramelized shallots. It could be delicious. You never know.
Yes.
No Spotify. I don't want to listen to Drake. Oh!
Oh my God.
That is so true. That is so true.
Holy crap.
If you go over there, it's all Drake. I know. I bet this was done like right when he put his album out a little while ago.
Well, he's got a lot of money behind him. It could be like, plaster him all over the front of Spotify.
Every time, right, guys? Like every time he puts something out, like Spotify is just like, woo.
Yeah, it's the only thing that exists.
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
Any other music. You know what though? That's the new radio and MTV, because there was always like one or two artists that when they put something new out, that video will play 1,000 times a day. It will be played every 3 or 4 songs on the radio. This is the equivalent to that now, since those things aren't as big anymore.
Oh, it drives me nuts. I have to connect to the internet in order to play an arcade game from 1999.
Oh, Crazy Taxi.
Oh, Crazy Taxi. I love
Why
Crazy
didn't it be on the
Taxi.
internet for Crazy Taxi?
That was 1999.
Yeah, it was a great game.
This hockey game has an alone cam that shows people who were by themselves. Really?
Where are they?
Some kind of
It looks
stadium.
Like, I don't know what league this would be. It's not NHL.
I have no idea.
But, that
Oh my God.
alone game. Look, it has the paper bag.
That is awful.
Is that Comic Sans?
I think it is Comic. It is totally Comic Sans. Yeah.
God damn it.
Those cams are kind of funny though, but
They are.
as
They
long
can be
as
funny.
they're in a good humor,
Yes.
you know.
Alone cam.
What is this? This massive sign was designed to trick people into getting off the highway 97.9 miles before Niagara Falls. Oh my gosh.
Niagara Falls information.
Really?
And lastly, there's the Halloween reboot. Has a new trailer. Just came out 2 days ago from today, which would be 4 days ago by the time you're watching this video.
I've been waiting.
But we haven't watched it, and now we're gonna watch it. And the last one was pretty interesting. So let's check this one out and see if it.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, dude.
Trick or treat! So my house is here. Which one should we go to? They're all spooky.
Baby Otter's birthday, huh?
I'm gonna pick that one over on across the street.
Why does it make that noise? Felt that in my booty. He's just walking around.
Oh, he blended right in on Halloween.
When is
40
this?
years ago,
Oh, he has
on
like an old
Halloween
radio.
night, Michael Myers murdered 3 people.
After that horrific night, he was sent back to the institution in captivity.
Whoa. Oh my God.
I have prayed every night
Oh, it's a new car though.
that he would escape.
What the hell did you do that for?
So I can kill him.
Oh my God. I love it.
The bus crashed.
Michael Myers escaped. He'll return to Haddonfield, his home.
I need to protect my family.
You have no security system, Karen.
Mom, you need help.
Evil is real.
Oh!
There's a reason we're supposed to be afraid of this night.
I've been preparing for this for a long time. It is not safe to be on the street tonight.
Go home! Get out of here! Get inside! Michael!
He's here. He is a
I'm not going to do
killer,
well watching this.
but he will be killed tonight. Happy Halloween, Michael.
All right.
Well, first
Okay,
off,
okay.
when does this take place then? I guess it's
It's
present
modern.
day.
Yeah, it's present day
it
now.
looked like they had some like older type stuff in there. There was a kid with like an old like tape, like cassette player. It looked
Well,
like.
it started
or
out
whatever.
saying that like 40 years
Yeah,
ago,
look at that.
right?
Oh, okay.
So maybe the beginning of it, maybe there's like a flashback or something. I don't know.
maybe.
Or maybe
Oh
that
my
was just in there to
gosh.
kind of like.
Did they film that here?
I
I
think
don't know
they
if
may
did it.
have.
I feel like we would have heard something if they do.
yeah, I don't know.
We could throw a rock at Haddonfield.
Yeah, we're very close to Haddonfield.
Yeah, so I don't know, like.
That's interesting. I don't know.
Wow, I'd be curious. I got to look into that and see if they did it at Haddonfield because it was my high school was in Haddonfield, so it was like a big thing.
Yeah.
Like it was like filmed right up here, and like we'd go after school and be like, "This is the street," you
Yeah.
know, and there's the tree and all that.
Yeah, the
But
neighborhood they showed there
cool.
could have been Haddonfield, could have been a lot of places.
Yeah, it's
you know?
very like
So
it's
hard
very
to say.
charming. It's
Yeah.
very old houses, you know.
Yeah.
They're it's really really nice. A lot of people like clamor to get in there.
Yeah.
And it's a really really nice area, but I mean I guess not because Mike Myers Myers.
Michael Myers, they're killing people.
I know.
I don't know. It's ringing a little weird to me.
Why?
That this is basically like Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
She was like in the first Terminator. She's all like, oh no, I'm gonna get killed.
Yeah.
And then in the second one, she's like, now I'm doing all these pull-ups, and I'm gonna go and like, I'm gonna have my one arm completely destroyed, and so like ended up being like, the one to kill the Terminator. Yeah, take him down.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's cool. But I almost like I'm having trouble buying because they made me buy Linda Hamilton like that. She was a badass in that movie.
Yeah, she was.
I'm not 100% sure I'm buying Jamie Lee Curtis.
Not buying Jamie Lee is a badass.
I think she's not that I'm not buying because she was in True Lies stuff.
Yeah.
Like she's
got her yogurt. She poops.
She does.
She's light on her feet.
That matters.
Her Activia yogurt.
Yes.
Probiotics.
That's kind of my point.
She's light.
She's a little getting up there in the years.
A little long in the tooth.
A little long in the tooth
How
to the
dare
point
you.
where that her claim to fame is promoting
She can still be badass.
digestive health.
She's still be badass.
I get that she could be weathered, but like it's strange to me to think like how in the world would she possibly be a match for him, no matter how much she trained. How would that happen?
She has guns.
Okay.
She could shoot him.
Okay. All right, we'll go with that.
That would solve that.
I'm being a little bit of a skeptic here.
Okay.
I want to watch it. I just hope it manages to deliver on that because it would have to make me believe that to actually get into this whole thing. I think
this should be called Halloween: Lissy screams in the theater. Over and over and over, because that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be we're gonna have to wait till it comes like on regular. We could download it or whatever, like watch it on demand or whatnot. Download it.
Yeah.
We can download it. We can watch it on demand or whatever, because I'll jump and make an idiot of myself in the theater. But I want to see it.
Yeah, I do want to see it. I do want to see it.
I know.
I'm being skeptical, but it looks really interesting, and I hope it's good.
I think it'd be cool. She throw her yogurt at him, slow him down. She's got the
Activia,
which are all connected. So she's got to like snap one off and then peel the thing back and then throw it.
But she throws this. It's like somebody who throw like trading cards.
Yeah,
or like in a way that can like cut you, like she's mastered that. They're like ninja
cards,
stars now. The little mini Activias.
Yogurt for you. That's what she gives out on Halloween. That's how people know her.
She's been training with monks.
Gives out the Activia yogurt.
That's what's been happening.
Yeah, but you know what? She's like, by her killing him, it's kind of.
Oh, I get it. It makes sense. It makes sense in context of the story.
For those of you who don't know, her mother is Janet Leigh, who was in Psycho.
That's right.
Who was the woman who was killed in the shower, right? Yeah. So they have like this horror thing, and her dad was Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis, oh my God, I love old movies, I'm sorry. But she, so they have this horror thing going on, and she could kind of be the one person to actually kill, because her mother got killed in the movie, and she didn't get killed in the movie, but still, she could kind of put up her dukes.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right, guys, that was this.
Wait, I'm not on. That's great.
All right, guys. Well, that was this episode of BS on the Internet. If you want to read any more about what we talked about, links are in the description.
Yeah.
And if you like this video, please support us on Patreon. Click like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.